Hello, let's do Netflix Puzzled Starstruck for March 4th. We will do the easy and then the hard. The easy is called a row. Let's play it. The way we play this game is in each row, each column, and each colored region, we need to place exactly one star, no more, no less. And in addition to that, stars aren't allowed to touch each other. So we wouldn't be able to put a star here and here. That wouldn't be allowed. All right. So I'm seeing a lot you can do here. The first thing that I always want to notice, I don't always, I try to, is that this leftmost column here needs a star, and no matter where it puts a star, it's going to put it into indigo. So we can just immediately mark this as not a star because we can't have two stars in indigo. That's probably not the best place to start, but it's something to notice. Now, here's probably where some cascades are going to start happening. Yellow is going to have a star in it, and wherever it puts its star, it will be in this rightmost column because yellow only occupies the rightmost column. So the rest of that column can't be a star. And now that these are X'd out, brown is going to use the top row. So that's not a star. So that already gave us that deduction anyway. All right. The next thing is we have some formations here, but the first thing I'm going to actually notice here, I'm going to draw this out. So I'm going to put a red line there. We're talking about below the red line. So below the red line, how many stars will we have? Well, we've got 1, 2, 3 rows. Each row has one star, so there's going to be 3 stars below the red line. Now, we know that red is going to have a star, gray is going to have a star, and blue is going to have a star. So that's 3 stars, and all of them must be below the red line because there aren't any. Red, blue, and gray don't go above the red line. So they're going to each give a star to the bottom 3 rows, meaning the rest of the bottom 3 rows aren't going to be a star. So we can just X all that out. And that actually gives us the star in yellow. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to notice are these formations. So this blue has only 2 places left to put a star. So any cell that sees both of these, that would be affected by both of these, can't be a star. So this is the most obvious one here because it touches this one, and stars can't touch. There's going to be a star in one of these two. They would both touch this one. A little bit less obvious is this one can't be a star because it shares a column with this guy and it touches this one. So wherever we end up putting a star, this won't be a star. All right. And so now we know there's a star here or here. And so, well, actually, there's something easier to do, but I want to show you this because this is a neat thing to do. I usually would need it in something like hard. So we know there's a star here or here, and we know there's a star here or here. Just be on the same page. Now we know that these are linked in that we can't put 2 stars here, and these are linked. We can't put 2 stars here. So that means we're either going to end up with this star and this star, or we're going to end up with this star and this star. So basically, the point here is that one of these 2 is definitely a star, and one of these 2 is definitely a star. Because we can't put them both here and both here. So we're going to have 1 in these 2 and 1 in these 2. And that means that the rest of this column can't be a star because it's one of these 2. And these 2 both affect this one and this one for similar reasons as these 2 did. It's the same formation, actually. So neither of these are in. Now, even without that, this cell here, I did tell you at the start it wasn't necessary, but I thought I'd point it out. This star here touches the entirety of red. So wherever we put a star in red, that's not in. And that gives us this star and this star. So we did get 1 in these and 1 in these. And that gave us the same eliminations plus more. Only 1 place in red now. Right. I'm going slowly and carefully here just so if you're struggling with the easy, these are things to think about. And it lets you graduate to hard. So indigo is down to these 3. This is another formation to pay attention to. This cell here touches all 3 of them, so it can't be in. I don't know that that was necessary, but again, teaching moments. So let's see, what's our finish to this puzzle is of course the question. I'm not like immediately seeing it. That doesn't mean it's not obvious, but I'm not immediately seeing it. Okay, so what I am seeing is, why don't I just use my straight line tool? So we're looking at this column here and this column here. We're looking at them together. When we look at them together, it's kind of like saying everything to the left of a red line, right? But instead we're being a little disjoint here. So we're looking at this column and this column, and we're asking between the two columns, how many stars do we have? And the answer is we're going to have 2 stars. It's 2 columns. So in those 2 columns, we know that brown is definitely going to give a star somewhere in those 2 columns because it can't give it anywhere else. And orange is going to give a star somewhere in those 2 columns because I can't put it anywhere else. And so that means green can't also give a star to those 2 columns because if it did, we wouldn't be able to put it anywhere else. Another, I guess, a much, much easier way to have seen that, which I didn't, is that this column is going to have a, this column's going to put a star here or here, and that gets rid of the rest of green, which we just did. Okay, and so now that we know that the green is in one of these 2, this can't be in because it touches both of them. And now we have, I was going to do the same thing with 2 rows here, but it's much easier to do this row. This row is going to give a star to orange, so the rest of orange isn't in. What are we going to do here? There's got to be something I'm missing. We're down to this square and this square, which doesn't help a whole lot. Oh, I see. Wherever green is, it also gets rid of this one, so that's not in. So that's a star, that's a star, that's a star, that's a star. I would not call this one a plonker unless I missed something crazy. This could have been a hard on a different day. All right, let's move on to the hard. And I explain a little less on the hard, but I still explain the important stuff. This one's called Lollipop. Hopefully I do a little better on this one. All right, so this formation takes out from all of these, and these also touch it, so it takes out from those. One of these 2, so those are out. This touches the rest of indigo now. Okay, indigo and blue are going to use the left 2 columns, so those are out. Looking for more lineups, but I'm not seeing it. Brown is down to these 3, so that one's out and that one's out. And so then indigo uses the left column, so this is a star. Right, brown and green line up on the top 2 rows, so these aren't in, and that gives us indigo. Brown and green. Orange, orange. This would. All right. I always like just start doing look aheads when I get stuck. I shouldn't be doing that, but sometimes it helps you explore the puzzle. Let's see. There's got to be. Oh, how about this region? Okay. If I'm, it sometimes is not looking in the important spot. One of these 3. What did this get me? It took out these 3. I don't know. Let's see. One of these 2 is in. One of these is in. Okay, so I'm seeing. Okay, so this is a really nice way to think about things, which is if you can ever any 2x2 box in the entire puzzle, and I drew that horribly. Any 2x2 box in the whole puzzle can have at most 1 star. It doesn't have to have a star, but if it does, it's got at most 1 star. So if I draw these 2 boxes here, I have at most 2 stars in them. But we can see that we must have 2 stars in them because they completely cover red and orange, right? Red and orange do not escape these 2x2 boxes. So these 2x2 boxes each have exactly 1 star in them. And so as a result, they do kind of the same lineup thing. So these 2 rows are going to get a star from these 2, and it gets rid of those yellows. Now, can we do anything more with it? basically we have these formations though, because these are x'd out, right? So we have this L formation and this L formation. Unfortunately, it doesn't really do any eliminations. But I can also draw this 2x2, and that's going to have a star from brown. So those line up, getting rid of those two, and that gives us the gray. We said that this had to have one, so that's here and that's here. I can get rid of these now. One of these two. Yellow, green, brown. We're done. Okay. That was a nice way to think about it. There were probably other ways you could have kind of seen that same relationship there, but I think thinking about it as 2x2s can really help, especially when you start graduating to star battles that have 2 stars that you have to place in each row, column, and region. Netflix Puzzle never does that. LinkedIn also doesn't do that with queens, but it's actually really common. I think it's more common to do 2 stars than 1 star in sort of the classic star battles. And so being able to analyze regions and areas with those 2x2s can be very helpful because you know that you have at most 1 star in them. All right, cool. Well, how'd you do?